All right, excellent, guys. Welcome to the FITBANKER Masterclass. As mentioned, this is being recorded, and this is for people who are in one of two categories. You already signed up, and you're ready to go with your challenge starting Monday, in which case we want to reiterate and reinforce how the program is going to work, right? Why do we exist? Why do we do what we do? How do we get the results that we get? And so listen for, as I go through here, like, what is it I need to implement or learn, or what are these sets of habits or actions Ronnie's talking about that we need to do? Because what we're really in the business of, while it says on the tin, health and fitness, or you see an image of a six-pack, we're causing behavioral change. We're causing a life transforming experience. We really are going to alter your relationship to three main things, which is food, exercise, and yourself. And in this webinar, if you've even attended one before or listened to one before, I want you to consider, if you come with an open mind, you will hear something new and something different for you that will really prep you up so that you're mentally ready come Monday, how to start this program. And the first 2 weeks are really about setup. They're really about getting familiar with the habits, getting your kitchen in place, getting your pantry in place, all that stuff. The first 2 weeks start off really light and slow. And even if I say that 28 times on Monday morning, everyone will message me and say, what did I do today? And so, it's going to happen. And we'll reply on the challenge chat. And everyone's welcome to keep asking, and questions are always welcome and encouraged. And the second group of people that this is for is, you might be listening to this on recording, you're inquiring, you're interested, you're considering joining the FitBanker Challenge. And if you'd like to join, we would love to have you join. We're committed to growing our program. We're committed to growing our community. We're committed to a global game of transforming 1 billion lives. And we're committed to disappearing lifestyle disease in my lifetime through education, not medication. And this program is really transformative nature. We have, while we do support people to just experience themselves thriving with more energy, more strength, more self-confidence, more knowledge and education of the workings and functioning of their body, their mind, their intellect, we are also disappearing lifestyle disease. And we've had people who've reversed prediabetes, high BP, cholesterol, women struggling with fertility, a host of issues. People have taken on this program and caused some amazing, amazing breakthroughs. So if you come on this program, if you're very clear there is an area of your life that you want to cause a breakthrough and a shift, even if you have a history of a strong medical opinion which says you have this for life, or you will never get this, or you won't be able to disappear XYZ, I invite you to give that up and come ready to discover yourself newly and what may be possible for you. So this webinar is about the pursuit of optimal health. And if your why is clear, then your how is easy. So, the start of the program, most of you have attended this masterclass before. We really ask you to get clear on a visual. What does it look like? And I'm going to ask this again. I want you to think, and I want you guys to share in a second. If I asked you, if you could visualize yourself with unlimited energy, with unlimited strength, with a whole and complete level of self-love, self-conviction, and confidence, that you can be, or you can get up to, you can do anything you would like to, what would you be doing? Who would you be? And I remember asking myself this question, that what would it be like? I was 33, I was in hospital, and I was thinking, this is so not the definition of success. And I remember looking at the nurse. It was a male nurse that was serving me, and I was quite judgmental. And I looked at him and I thought, this nurse that was serving me, he himself was looked overweight. And I thought, wow, like, I'm overweight, I have an issue with my heart. What guarantee do I have that this guy doesn't have a similar issue? Like, how does he know what he's advising me? And the banker that I was at that time was just like very judgmental of this guy, thinking, man, is my health in the hands of this guy? And I remember thinking, what do they know that I don't, right? And then I thought about my PT, that I once had a PT when I was in the banking days. And I thought, what did he know that I don't, I cannot learn, that I can go and discover? And I was like, I'm going to figure this out, and I am going to really transform my health. And what I visualized myself doing, or being of service and function in my life, is I just visualized myself running up a mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro, with 2 kids in hand, right? We didn't have kids, we weren't expecting, and I have 2 boys. and I am still planning on making more babies. So that vision was only showing 2 out of however many babies we have. I think we're having a girl next. But you have to have that visual, right? And you have to have that visual, and if that visual is so clear, then you're clear, what are you playing for? If you're playing for the aesthetic of, hey, I just want a 6-pack, the question is why? What do you do with that 6-pack? What do you do with 10 kilos lost? What do you do with 15 kilos lost? Then what? Right? There is something that in your mind serves you. So that's my question to you guys. I'd like to hear from you three now. I want you to share something. What's there for you at play? What's at stake for you if you got to transform and experience peak energy, peak strength, and a boost in self-confidence? Who would you be? What would you be doing? Who'd like to go? I'm going to go for the biggest smile. They always smile at that. All right, I'm going to go with Seema. But it was tight between Farhana and Seema. I'll go with Seema.
Okay. I would actually not embarrass myself riding a bicycle and runners taking over me like last Saturday. That's what I would do with unlimited energy.
You would not let them run past you.
Yes, the runners were overtaking cyclists.
Amazing, amazing. So you want to, so your why is to not let that happen to you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm going to propose for you, Seema? I'm going to propose that you get this ready and get Massimo ready for this. There is only a few handful of companies that do this, but our partners on the ground are avid cyclists that cycle up to day 3 of Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm going to invite you to cycle up to there, and then from there we're going to start our ascent. So create that why. Have that visual clear for you.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. In addition to not having people run past you while you're on your bike.
Exactly.
All right, who's going next? Farhana?
I guess superficially, I just want to look better because I know I have before. So I kind of want to get that, just because if you look better for yourself, you feel better, and then you're kind of more likely to do more things. And then the other thing is, last few years I've been doing like things that are more challenging. Like I did the boxing fight, tried to do the 3 Peaks challenge, but I just want to be able to, I say I didn't enjoy it, but I did enjoy it. I wanted to be able to do more and more challenging things, because it's exciting.
All right, awesome. So if you looked at a visual of one of those challenging things, what would it be?
Maybe I'd do another boxing fight, I think. And even though I won, I'd want to do better, like as in, you know, knock him out basically.
Awesome. What was that? White Collar Boxing?
Yeah.
Yeah, the company called White Collar Boxing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right, got it. Clear. I'm trying to hold that vision for you as well, but I'm just wondering who you're going to be knocking out. Okay, Sheila?
Yeah, I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in December.
Woohoo! Let's do it. Let's do it. We are having the Christmas party of the year at base, and then without alcohol. And then the next day we're going to have training, a mindset team building workshop on the 26th. And on 27th, we're commencing the ascent. On New Year's Eve, we're going to do fireworks when we wake up at midnight, just before clock strikes midnight. And then we commence at midnight our ascent to summit. So that's happening this year, wow. Which is, in my view, 2020 people will remember as having had their best Christmas and New Year's. And we're going to do an exercise to complete 2020, put 2020 back in 2020. So we're not taking any of this past experience into the future. We're going to create a whole new world. And the mountain is just going to be the analogy. It's just going to be the tool that we're going to use to really see how we can create this. So it'd be awesome to have you join. And has Amit done it, by the way?
Amit, no, he hasn't done. He wants to join as well.
Tell him he is strongly invited. He's strongly invited.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have him join as well. He's very fit and ready to go tomorrow.
Maybe I'll change my mind about climbing mountains as well.
Well, do it. I tell you, this year, we're going to have an epic session. And we're going to have a videographer that's going to capture this journey. All right, excellent. So that said, guys, hold on to that why. That's quite clear. In those of you that are on the challenge, webinar 2, we're going to actually ask you to visualize and maybe create a vision chart of this. If you want to play all out, your brain really has to hold that vision so clear, just like this lady's pointing out that future that she's creating. Your current body and your lifestyle is completely a function of your belief system. And a lot of our belief systems are really driven by a lot of our past experiences and understandings and interpretations of us, ourselves, of what we can, and more importantly, and more significantly, but not positively, sometimes we are existing the way we are as a function of the things we think we cannot do. So even in webinar 2, we ask you to sign up to something you cannot do. And it is one of the bonus assignments of webinar 2. And literally, I think 3 to 5% of people in the history of 5 years of FitBanker ever sign up to something within 1 week, right? I'm just giving you a heads up, right? But we present that in webinar 2. So not everybody is getting to hear that. Your current body and lifestyle is a function of what I call the 3 I's, which is your belief system. The information you possess in your mind, right? The inspiration that you have. The inspiration might be, I want to knock somebody out, or I don't want to get knocked out. It's either driven by something you love or something you fear that you want to avoid, right? I want to ride that bike up Mount Kilimanjaro, or I don't want somebody to overtake me on their sneakers while I'm on my bike, right? It's driven by something you're aspiring towards that you love, or it's avoiding a negative, avoiding a fear. That's what really inspires most of us in life. So when your vision is so clear and that thing is bigger than you and it's expanded of what you know is possible by you, then you have this powerful future to step into. And the third one is implementation. And the implementation is where we come in. Because if you're trying to implement a structure to get you further than where you are, I want you to consider that the implementation structure you already have within you is having you be where you are right now. To go beyond that, there's an African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right? So this is where we are looking to stretch you beyond what's possible by you. We're that implementation structure where we will listen to, as coaches, as a coaching body, to your greatness. And we will offer you 3 things. We will offer you more information that you require that will increase and expand your knowledge and wisdom of what you need to know around transforming your well-being and health. We might stretch your why. We might hear your why. You might share it. We'll say thank you at the start. And then over the webinar, your coach might say, hey, I think you're not connected to your why. Let's expand and stretch that. And then we will provide you the implementation. We'll give you weekly assignments, the tools, the apps. We'll have you understand everything around what's going in your body and what's being expended by your body, right? So to create something new, we need to alter our understanding. And this is going to be an opportunity for you to clean slate the way you are and the way you wound up in life, and really, inside of a structure, recreate and design a whole new you. So we're going to create a designer for Anna, the way she wants to create it, designer Sima, a designer Sheila. That's exactly what we're out to do. All we're doing is a support structure that will make that happen. So this fat banker decided to do that, and he created his version of designer him, right? And it's the same tools and the same journey I went through. Nothing here is some theory from a book that I said, hey, that's a good thing to introduce to my participants. It's what I've discovered and learned through experience. And I've then gone back to relearn the science that I back everything that we're offering. So there's no woo-woo stuff, there's no guess stuff, there's no coincidence stuff, there's no taking a punt on you guys and your lives. Most of you know my story. I was a fat banker, and I would work hard and party hard. And my information in my mind at the time was the definition of success is become an investment banker, a fund manager, private equity fund owner. That was my view, because that was all I saw in the world I was in, is the inspiration. That is what I should work and aspire towards. Living that lifestyle, I got a very clear message that I am in an area and an arena where my body is screaming. It's speaking volumes to me, and it's telling me I am not a right fit here. I might be good at it. I might excel. I might get promotions. I might get bonuses, but my body is saying otherwise. And I would defy what my body was saying by demonstrating to people, look, I can still party out. I can still do adventure, and I can still model like Daniel Craig coming out of the beach, right? And I could do my Daniel Craig pose, and I would say, look, I'm confident in my body. I love it. I could still do Kilimanjaro at 100 kilos. It was hard, but I did it. And I get to show the world, look, I can do this. You can too. It's called denial. And I get to sugarcoat that denial with lovely icing on the cake by saying, look at all these beautiful things I get to do. But really what's going on internally is this form of resignation. This person who is feeling incomplete or inadequate, that I have to do a lot of things to prove and demonstrate how I'm worthy, acceptable, should fit in, should belong, blah, blah, blah. And shortly after marriage, we were at the Fringe Festival, a festival in Edinburgh. We were there to celebrate Ambika's birthday, our first break after our honeymoon, and also that we were 3 months pregnant and we're going to become parents. And while we're there, we had our miscarriage. We lost our little one. I got stressed from dealing with the stress Ambika was going through and the heartache and the breakdown and not being able to control and console that. It led to me getting these random heart palpitations, which lasted over a day and a half. And then Ambi was having none of it, called emergency. I ended up in hospital that night, and I ended up just sitting there, lying down there with all these things stuck in me, stuff attached to my legs and my chest, and ECG machines and blood tests, and waiting for results. And I'm thinking how they come check on you, then they leave you this many hours, and they say you can't leave, you need to be on observation. And I just thought, wow, it's so frustrating going in and out of hospital in that life. And I'm like, I'm so clear, this is not the life I want. This is not me being my peak. And I remember, like I said, that conversation and that view and opinion I had about this nurse. And I thought, I am going to discover what there is to know and transform this. And I began to learn it. I lost 20 kilos. After that, I then took on this body transformation challenge I saw online. I won that. It led to a big following because I was very public and open about sharing my journey. I was completely home and dry and okay with me posting out there and free of anybody's opinions or judgments. And we are going to encourage you to be that way on social media. You don't have to, but when you can really be with yourself, when you can really love yourself exactly as you are, whether you have that Daniel Craig body that I had, or you have the one that I have now, totally be home and complete with yourself, and you'll get power in really discovering yourself as we work to reinvent you over the next 90 days. That was the birth of FitBanker. You've all seen, we've had many people do this program, from doctors to this people doing it. And I ask you, what's possible after? What's your why? You know, in her case, she wanted to be a better mom, a fitter mom, better wife. She wanted to be a stand for family. She got a lot of her family members to the program. This person, Elisa, wanted to get into acting. She lost 11.3. She met me on a trek. She says, I'm going to do a program and I'm going to get fit and I'm going to go into acting. And I was like, bring it on, sign up to the program. And she did it. She went on to lose 20 kilos and she got into acting in one of the theaters in London, and now is a screenwriter for them. These guys are called the Fit Doctors, quite world-renowned urologists, and they are based in Florida, and they came here to give a TED Talk. And after giving that TED Talk, they met me for dinner. They learned about the program. We spoke about what the program entails, and they got to transform their health and be an embodiment of what they stood for, which was health. Guy on the left lost 53 pounds, guy on the right lost 36 pounds, guy on the left got into a whole new relationship. Because while we start looking at the physical, there's underlying emotional issues and stories about us and who we are, and our things like self-worth and worthiness and self-love that really he discovered for himself. He was in a relationship that he wasn't content with, and he got out of that relationship and created a new one, and now close to 50-year-olds, he's in a whole new relationship. This is Simran, somebody who signed up, been overweight all her life. Everyone around her says, oh, it's in your genes, or you can't do this, or don't undereat, and don't do that diet, and mocked her and laughed at her for trying anything and everything. And oh, we bought her this dress, a size 12. She's never been able to fit in it since she's been a teenager. We're still holding on to that dress. The world she was in, the community she was in, the environment she was in, kept reinforcing her to stay the way she was. Instead of joining this community, we gave her permission to shine. She went on to lose 15.8 kilos. She was the female record holder in that year. Since then, the female record has been broken. Somebody's lost 16.2. And in this last challenge in June, we have a new record holder, a lady who lost 17.5 kilos. She then signed up to Kilimanjaro. She went on to lose up to 20 kilos. And even though it was the hardest thing she says she's done, in the middle of the night, I had to separate from her in the dark on summit night, and I had to say, look, I'm going ahead to be in the front of the rest of the crew because I want to be there for the group photo, but I'm not leaving summit till you come. So everyone came there, we took a group photo, everyone went down, and I was like, I'm waiting for Simran. And she wanted to give up, but when she heard that story, when the rest were on their way down, she's like, I got to keep going. And so she finally got to summit, and we got to take this amazing photo. This is Preeti, who many of you might have seen, or she's seen on the chat. She's also a coach now on the chat. She reached out to the program saying, I'm not interested in the health stuff and nutrition. I've got all that sorted because I'm fit already. But I'm interested in the mind-body stuff you're talking about. And then she discovered, even though she was vegan and thought that was healthy, all that she is and all that she did, she realized wasn't. Did the program, lost 12% body fat, toned. She's now even leaner than this and more toned than this in the shape of her life. And she's getting to be that in her late 30s. And she's an amazing coach, and she's a stand for so many people who have joined our September challenge as well. Supertel, again, multiple stories. This is my dad, who he's now 66 kg actually. He was about 94, 95, but he was 91 kg or 90 point something when he did his first challenge at the age of 70. And within 4.5 months, he came down, he lost about 14.5 kilos. And now 4 years later, he's taken the program again, and he's gone further down to 66 kg. So, you know, he's again with you guys on the September challenge. And he says next year he turns 76. And because he loves numerology and numbers, he says, because there's a 6 and 76, I'm going for a 6-pack. So that's my dad. He's on your challenge. And he is now doing 8-minute planks. And I just about do 2 minutes, by the way. So my dad is proper shamed me. And then there's me, like, what's possible when you cause this transformation? I got to do, and I'm probably the first Zambian. We don't know of anyone else that has summited Mount Kilimanjaro 5 times. I'm going to do it 10 times, and I have a personal commitment to personally take 100 people to summit. I'm somewhere around 40-something people. And so help me get to that 100, guys. Help me get to that 100. And keep inviting friends and family. And we really are committed to stretching human beings to get out of and be uprooted from their comfort zone. This is somebody who reversed pre-diabetes. She got gestational diabetes. She lost 14.5 kilos, went to reverse diabetes. Here is Ushma, who was struggling with fertility, was refused to join and attend IVF clinic because she was told she was overweight. By week 10 of the program, she was about 8 kilos lighter and got permitted to start her IVF process. By the end of the program, or shortly after, she had conceived. They wanted just one more child after they had the first one, who was now 5 years old. They ended up getting twins. And after the twins, they ended up, when I went to interview with the twins, they were told they could never conceive naturally, so they didn't bother doing anything protected at home. And lo and behold, while we were interviewing her, she was pregnant with number 4. So she went from 1 to 4 babies in a 20-month window, faster than a BMW. So that's what's possible. And there's my dad. Like I said, he's reversed, he's off medication for 4 years. He's not had his BP return. His cholesterol has remained low, and I'm just grateful. Like, this guy is physically and mentally, his aptitude, I wish we had him that way in his 30s and 40s when we were kids. Like, I really wish we experienced him knowing and understanding the role of his body, mind, and intellect. So, like I say, the way you guys are going to learn and discover stuff newly is give up all that you know. Give up any views or anything you have, even if you've heard it 100 times, that the way to lose weight is to eat less and exercise more. Give that up. I'm not saying that it is, I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm saying just listen to what do the instructions say on the tin. Let me do this program by design. Let me see what I'll discover. If you've heard from people saying, oh my God, I think you've triggered your DNA. Oh my God, I think that's unhealthy. I think you're under eating. I think you can't do this. I think allow people to have their opinions. Don't be triggered by them, and don't fall into the trap of being held back by them. We've worked now with hundreds of lives. I think we're about to cross 400, which I'm really grateful for. And out of the 400, we have some people who do 3 challenges back to back because they want to work on altering their relationship to these things that are still what I call the niggly bits. For me, it was chapati, it was roti, right? I forced myself for the first 90 days not to touch it. And then whenever Ambika made it, when guests came over, it would be like a tripwire. I have 1 and then I have 7, right? You know, and so like that, I didn't want food to own me. I wanted to own the food. So I can choose when to have something or not have something, right? So that I understand what is the role of this 100 or 200 grams or 300 grams of flour that's about to enter me. Is it really needed in my body? What role does it play? I know it feels good on the tongue, but what role does it play beyond the tongue? So I began to really ask those kinds of questions about everything that entered my body, every gram, and I would record everything. So I knew exactly what I was made of to the granule. How do you alter the status quo? Which the status quo is How or why are we often the way we are? Or why do we keep volleying? How have we, many of us may have tried something, and whatever we've tried, it worked for a bit and then it came back out. This is why we are in the business of behavioral change, right? Many of what we have tried might be fad diets. Oh, I've done the 5-2, I've done the GM diet, I've done the watermelon diet, all these funny things. I discovered one recently from South Africa. Somebody joined, they said, oh, I've been doing the, never heard of it. I think it's called the, what is it called? The boiled cabbage diet. And all they ate was boiled cabbage. And they were like, oh, it worked for a few weeks and then everything came back. The views like eat less or starving or suppression or eating disorders, it's not what we're about, and it also is not what works. Fat loss pills or fat burning pills, there is no thing as a fat burning pill. Anything that you take that goes inside and burns you is called bleach. Don't take it. Anything else that claims to be that cannot really be doing that, because you don't want to consume something that's actually burning parts of your body. And then we justify why we're staying the way we're staying. We justify by saying, well, so-and-so is doing keto. It works for them, should work for me. So-and-so is doing paleo, or our ancestors did paleo, we should do that now. Or hang on, why are you telling me I can't have my teplan paratha for breakfast? I've been having that for 20-something years or 50 years, or my parents have been having that. The reason is that life has changed. The lifestyles have changed. The amount we move has changed. The levels of stresses that we worry about today have significantly changed. We're very community-based people, and we did a lot of things as extended families and large groups and large communities. And today we're very independent, right? So our levels of stresses are different. The way our bodies are operating more in fight or flight mode is very distinct and very different from the way it was, whereby we had less stressors on a day-to-day basis. Like we didn't have mortgages, and we didn't have childcare, and we didn't have loneliness as an issue, right? Today it's a very different world that we're in. And so we want to make sure that we're adapting as human beings. Or we have a resigned view, thinking it's not my problem, the doctors need to sort this out. So long as I have the best insurance, I'm going to go and eat hard, party hard, do what I want, and I got amazing insurance, they'll take care of me if I fall unconscious or have a heart attack somewhere, which is a completely resigned view that you don't want to do. So what is the first and the biggest thing that makes a difference? Most people are looking at forwards called, eat this, make this drink with ginger, with honey, with this, and you drink this 3 times a day and it burns fat. Or we think there's an external solution out there, which when consumed, deals with our issue. But it's not true. What we need to look at is what is actually causing the issue and eliminate that, process of elimination. And so one of the first things that we do is we look at what's causing dis-ease, lack of ease. What is it we're consuming that's not aligned with the normal and natural functionality of our body in today's life and today's lifestyle? And one of the biggest things that we remove in that list of forbidden foods, most of those are what we call high glycemic index carbs. So they're foods that create in our body a significant blood sugar spike, and then what follows is a blood sugar crash. And when every time there's a spike, there is an insulin spike. It's a hormone our body releases to take this dangerous blood sugar out of our blood, because it's fatal. We can die with excess blood sugar for a long period of time in our blood sugar. So it has to take it out of the bloodstream and put it into storage. And that's the role of a hormone called insulin. And the way we reduce this volatility in blood sugar spike is removing those forbidden foods, but eating from the shopping list foods that have a lot more good fats, a lot more good protein, a lot more increased fiber, right? In the bottom right image, there is rice there, but we're not having rice on this program. So it is about having foods that are functional for our body. But specifically, the first thing we're looking to do and start on the program is we are looking to reduce the acidity in our body as we begin to alkalize our body. A lot of the foods we consume, with processed foods, sugary foods, high carb and starchy foods, foods with acidic or other preservatives, they make our bodies acidic in nature. And an acidic environment is really good for 2 things: storing fat cells and thriving cancerous cells. And I think we all want neither of those. And so we want to remove those, we want to alkalize the body. Think of inside our body, we're going to start to shake up and metabolize and break down stored fat and pump our body with a surge in oxygen, a surge in energy, and it's phenomenal. This is research backed that we all have a pH balance in our body, and below 7 is called acidic, above 7 is called alkaline. And research has shown people with a pH of between 7.35 and 7.5 experience themselves optimally. So you can even, if you want to, you don't have to, it's not part of the program, but I have, what I do is from time to time I have these pH strips and I have to spit on them or pee on them, and I record the color code, and there's a chart which tells me what's my pH level, and it tells me, okay, my foods are working for me or they're not working for me, right? Now, how did we end up the way we wound up? The way we ended up and wound up the way we wound up is right from the regulation and the education system. So the education system, the NHS website, the government website is telling us to eat this way. But they did this because they want to simplify the message to the masses. And a lot of this came from a world in the 80s where we were dealing with eating disorders like bulimia and dyslexia. We were dealing with people dying more of malnutrition and starvation. But now this advice being applied by everyone everywhere at whatever stage of life they're at is now leading to a world which is pumped with obesity, right? So obesity is becoming the biggest cause of lifestyle disease and is being linked to everything from ischemic heart disease to high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers, right, is being linked to an increase in obesity. And obesity is not that person that we see on the program where they say 6 months to live. And, we're seeing them being extremely obese. But obesity is the old me you saw. Those photos where my gut is just out by 3 inches. And it's 3 more inches out is the definition of obesity, right? And it means I'm carrying a certain amount of fat that I don't really need. And I was carrying 30 kg of fat. And I didn't need 30 kg of fat walking around with me everywhere. It impacted my joints. It's going to be the precursor to me getting osteoporosis in my later life, joint issues. It was a strain on all my organs, having to pump and work harder. And it's all driven by, hey, the government says I got to eat X amount of ABCD, but not for everyone, not for people that are already over a certain point. And so what we want to do is have each person understand themselves, understand transformative health. So understand your lifestyle. So if you haven't already completed your question in the questionnaire, we ask you, what does your typical day look like? And you write down that day, what it looks like from morning till evening, how you spend your day, how you spend your hours. It gives us and your coaches a sense of, how many hours are you sleeping? What are your stresses? What matters to you? Who are the people that matter to you? Sorry, bear with me, guys. Nay in the background. Apologies, his TV time just ended. So we look at your lifestyle, we understand your lifestyle, we understand your body type, and we're using a 5,000-year-old science. This is what I mean by new information we'll present to you. I never knew this existed. And so I lived this myth thinking we should all be eating the same and life should be the same to all of us, but it wasn't. I found myself piling on weights and my wife wasn't. I thought, bloody unfair, like I've got to breed with her to make better human beings is what I thought. But I just didn't understand the science of body types, right? Complete nonsense and complete limiting belief in my head. Functional eating. We teach you functional eating. We teach you to understand what is every gram of carb doing you, every gram of fat, what is doing you, every gram of protein. How much do you actually need? How much are we over consuming? What happens to the excess we consume? Does it go to waste or does it go to storage? Everything we will teach you, and you understand that in the body. Then body composition. We could be two of us, both of us could weigh the same weight. We could both be 78 kg or 77 kg, but one might have, I might have 8-9% fat, and someone else might have, or the old me might have 20% fat or 30% fat. And that different starting point of where we are needs to be ascertained by our body composition rather than weight. Weight is such a shallow measure or indicator. If you look at my weight for my height, it will tell you, according to the BMI chart, I am overweight. But I'm overweight because I have a high percentage of muscle mass. And every bodybuilder, from Arnold Schwarzenegger to whoever's there today, is going to also be in the overweight category because their muscle mass weighs more. So that BMI method, or using weight as a judgment of your health, is such a poor and bankrupt way of assessing you. We have the tools and we have the scales that will tell you what are you made of. And that's what we want to know. And that's why we ask you to get this body composition scale. Can I just check, Seema and Farhana, do you guys have these scales? Have you ordered them?
Yeah, I've had them from before. I have Renfo.
Renfo, that's fine.
Yeah, I've had them for a while.
Okay. And Seema, do you have one now, or yeah, you got one? Okay. So if you need to remember, you can always go to Kitway if you want to go and use Sanjit if you don't have one there.
No, I bought one last time.
Oh, amazing. Awesome. Okay. And like I say, we coach on multiple muscle groups. Everyone thinks that altering the body is about working on the physical. The only two things about physical are food and exercise. But we've known people who exercise a lot and go to the gym, but then nothing doesn't shift around the health. We know people who starve or don't eat, but nothing shifts around their health and body. So those two pillars alone don't make a difference. But we look at sleep, we look at the mind-body connection, we look at relationships. And that's where we delve into what's going on for you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And by spiritually, it's not religious. We just mean, are you operating aligned with your life purpose and your leadership? Are you in a role that's aligned with what you say you stand for? So I am working in the banking role, but I say, and I have this desire and yearning to want to be an entrepreneur. I love interacting with people. I love solving problems for people. I love being customer facing. I love chatting to people like this. I love climbing mountains with people, right? I love doing that. But there I am sat every day at a desk job with an Excel sheet, and it's doing my head in. And I would thrive at it because I knew how to stay longer hours and just crack it, right? And I would get promotions, and I was loved, and I was the top employee, and all these kinds of things were happening. But I knew how to force my way through it because I understood the corporate game, right? But it wasn't aligned with my purpose, and my body and my mind kept communicating to me. So when your body is communicating anything to you, from whether it's having heat flushes to dandruff to eczema to some
Neck
inflammation in
issues.
your body. So what do you say?
My neck issues.
Your neck issues. Your body is communicating. Your body is telling you, right, that there is something going on that you're resisting. If any of you are interested in that field of work, by the way, one book we recommend and we leverage on our program is called Your Body Speaks Your Mind. Highly recommend this. Highly, highly recommend it. If you and you can use it like it's not the kind of book you have to read from front to back. You flip to the section to say, okay, what's causing my knee issue, right? And it's by Deb Shapiro, and highly, highly, highly recommend it. And so there are a few other books that we use and reference and leverage in our program, but that is one around the mind-body connection side. And then the relationships, we have a whole program on relationships, which just started today. Ambika just finished the first program today. So like I said about me and Ambika, I said, if I don't marry this girl, she's going to run off with somebody slimmer and better looking than me. And so I better quickly propose to her. But no, I was saying life is unfair. How come she can eat and drink all she wants? Nothing happens to her. But I burp, I fart, I feel acid in my body. I put on half a kilo the next day and I'm feeling sluggish and lethargic. And I thought life is goddamn unfair. And I would keep looking at my dad and I would say, it's your bloody genes, man. And I would say life is unfair. And what I didn't know was there's like this 5,000-year-old science, which they didn't teach us in school, called the science of body types, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. And in Western science called ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph. And if you learn your body type, you realize, damn, I'm like a Kapha body type or a meso-endomorph. Why on earth am I eating high glycemic index carbs? And Ayurveda goes to the extent where it says, based on your body type, you excel and thrive in certain sports. Like my body type was designed for being great in judo or rugby, or even careers where I might be an engineer or a mechanic. And I was a complete mismatch of that. Now, we won't go into that side of this thing, but if you're interested, I'm letting you know that you can ascertain your body type. And when you do, you can look up certain things that guide you. People that are Vata or ectomorphs are so predisposed to smashing it in high intensity type sports, like running or squash or whatever. Now, it doesn't mean if you're not that body type, you can't do that. It just means you have to know how to adapt your training or your nutrition to have you excel in doing that. So I can still run, I can still play other stuff, but I need to know how do I need to adapt or whatever. My body's already adapted. I've not changed my body type. We'll never change our body type, but we can adapt what we consume so that the way our body reacts or responds to our food, our mind, our thoughts, and so on is altered. Ultimately, how are we bringing accountability into your body? We're bringing by accounting for every gram that goes in you, every gram that goes out. And over that period, if any of you are finance people by background, we create cash flow projections and we can account for every money that comes into a company. on a monthly basis and every expenditure, and you can predict the cash flow balance at the end of the year. Similarly, we can do that with our body. You can predict on a weekly basis how many calories or energy or grams of nutrition are coming in, and how many calories are we spending through exercise. And if you can calculate that, there's a formula to go and lose from whatever our starting fat percentage is to where we want to get it. So it's not complex number stuff. So if you're somebody that's not a numbers person, and whenever somebody talks about numbers or calculations, your mind switches off, don't go there. It's not complex. It's a very simple app, which is MyFitnessPal, and it explains, and you have a coach that helps you and works with you to understand that we have to create a certain deficit on a daily basis. And we use two apps, MyFitnessPal and Runkeeper. So have you all three of you downloaded both of these apps?
Yep.
Yeah, anyone not downloaded? Okay. Have you set it up with the current weight and target weight?
I have, because I had it from ages ago. I haven't really looked into it properly yet.
Okay, so once you update it, it has a glitch. Once you update your new current weight and you update your target weight, it will ask you how much do you want to lose per week. Select the highest amount, which is called 1 kg per week, I think, right? 1
kg per week?
Yeah, you just put that as the goal so that it calculates the right, what's called the calorie intake you need to take as your goal. Okay. And after you do that, then you go and have to go back and click on goals and click where it says calorie and macronutrient goals. And there, make sure your protein is at 30% and your carbs need to be adjusted to 40 and your fat needs to be at 30. If you don't do that, it will likely reset it to carbs being at 50. There's a glitch in that every time you update your weight on this app, it again changes your carbs back to 50. And it changes your overall calorie goal. So you need to make sure you're going to manually change that again. Of course, add me, go under the friends and search for username FitBanker and add me. On both apps, I'm as FitBanker, so add me on both. So that way, when I go for a walk or run or record food or whatever, you get to see, and vice versa. Then your diary, your food diary there, you want to go under diary settings and change diary sharing to public so that your coach and I, if we need to review your food diary, can have a look at what you've been consuming. Okay, Runkeeper, whenever you're going for a walk in Santorini, if anyone's randomly going to Santorini by any chance over the next few days, and as you go for a walk from this amazing hotel called Palace of Gods, what is it called? Oh God, it's such a nice place. I can't remember what it's called. So Farhana is going to Santorini, and there's a place called I think it's called Home of Gods or Land of Gods or something like that. And it's a beautiful hotel that overlooks the little volcanic island, and it's got nice spa and stuff. And from there, there's another lovely place where you can go and get wine in the days I used to have wine. When you're walking from point A to point B, my point is switch on Runkeeper, and when you get to the end, switch off Runkeeper. So make sure you're doing a lot of walking if you can while you're there.
Because I normally use my Fitbit, and I try to sync it, but it only sometimes syncs the runs, but not anything else. So yeah, I might have to start.
Yeah, so if you're using another app, you sync Fitbit or Apple Watch first to Runkeeper. Then make sure under Runkeeper, there's a section called Connected Devices and Apps. Click on that and sync Runkeeper to MyFitnessPal. Don't sync Fitbit or Apple direct to MyFitnessPal, because then it double counts.
Okay.
Yeah, so just do it first to Runkeeper and then sync Runkeeper to MyFitnessPal. Okay, so on a daily basis, that app, once you've updated your goal, it will give you a total calorie goal to consume. And then every time you record food, it reduces how much more you can eat. Every time you exercise, so long your Fitbit or Runkeeper is synced first to Runkeeper and Runkeeper synced here, then the exercise comes in and it creates a deficit. When you have that deficit, we want to aim for, by end of the week, you have created a 3,500 calorie deficit. That's our goal. So there's a stats sheet that we have. We're going to ask you to populate that sheet. And as you populate that sheet, you'll begin to see what you're doing or not doing. You're beginning to see what you think you're doing, but when it comes to recording it, you're realizing, actually, I'm just bluffing myself. I'm not actually doing what I think I'm doing. Some people just get overwhelmed in their head. They read there's so much to do. and they do one thing and they think, I can't catch up with the rest. And we keep reminding you the first 2 weeks are all about setup and settling in, right? And the first update we ask for is day 10. There is a record where somebody has lost 9.1 kilos in 10 days. That's actually Coach James, who's on this challenge. He did start with a big weight. He was 147. And then at the end of that program, he lost 21.7 kg. So he's one of the male record holders. And so, yeah, amazing stuff can happen when you record everything. We obviously say don't undereat, don't skip meals. Actually eat smaller meals more frequently is better than skipping meals, up until we introduce intermittent fasting. And which is optional as well. And then,
so sorry to interrupt, will we be told like how many calories to have then per day?
Yeah, it's going to come from you setting up MyFitnessPal. It will give you a number, and I will check with you all in webinar 1 or 2. As an example, what's your height?
Me, 5 foot.
5 foot. Yours should be somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200. That would be your total calorie intake, right, from my guess. So if you get a number above 1,200, let me know, and then I will tell you to manually adjust it to 1,200.
Okay.
But 1,200 is a very good number for you to start on, and sustainable number. And then we're alkalizing, right? So if we're removing the foods that cause acidity, we want to boost our alkalinity. So there are 5 smoothies we share that are already there in your email called the 747. So 2 of them are pasted, and then there's a link that takes you to campus where the other ones are. But if you want me to, I might share them again on the group, but these 2 are the alkalizing ones. The other ones are great and low calorie or functional calories, but they are not alkaline in nature. These 2 are. We talk about hits, doing daily hits. You can join the hits. We're doing complementary hits. Those daily hits, by the way, please invite people to them. They're open to all. So if you're doing this program and you have a sister, daughter, nephew that want to join, invite them along, right? It's open to them to join those. So those, when we share the links, like today we had yoga with Amy, and then there was a beginner's class at 10 a.m. And then tomorrow morning is Friday, 9 a.m. There's Antonio. Invite people to them. Those are complementary. They're not part of the 90-day program. What's part of the 90-day program is we're giving you a workout like this one. We're saying do the 7-minute hit workout on your own, or we send you some links of videos that you can do. And once you're on campus, there are more ideas there as well. And the intention is you want to get your heart rate. If you look at your Fitbit, are you getting your heart rate to over 70%? So if you're on Santorini and you see yourself walking uphill, you'll see that you'll get your heart rate uphill very easily, reach to 70% of your maximum heart rate. But you need to know that number in your mind. We're going to calculate that in webinar 4. But if you want a head start, it's 220 minus your age. So in my case, I'm 40. So 220 minus 40 is 180. And 70% of that is the number I need to know in my mind, which is...
Yeah, I think with Fitbit, the latest update, they've kind of adjusted it so that it tailors it to your stats, apparently.
Okay. So it tells you when you're in your fat burning zone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So look specifically. Sorry, Frana, if you don't mind me asking, what's your age?
I'm 39.
39. So yours will be exactly somewhere around 129, 128, 129, right? So if you can check that it tells you above 129 that you're in your fat burning zone, then it's on point. Yeah, I haven't.
Let me have a look.
I lost my Fitbit on Brecon Beacons, and I'm waiting for insurance to believe me and send me.
So it's saying it's between 111 to 133. Is saying is fat burn. 134 to 162 is cardio, and then 163 plus is peak. That's what. Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. You're the second person to tell me that that's what it's showing, because usually cardio comes first. Cardio is what's called 60 to 70%. So the first range you've given me called fat burning, that is actually the cardio zone. I don't know why they called it that way. I'm going to double check online. I'll see why they communicate that.
Okay.
But the 111 is your 60%, and then the one what was the second number you gave? 133.
What between 111 to 133?
Yeah.
And then 134 was the next category up.
Yeah. So 133 is your 70%, and 134 to that is your
One.
70 to 90%, and above that is peak?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then, as mentioned, a big part of what reinforces the new you and new habits is sharing, articulating and sharing what you're up to. But most of us, when we share what everyone else used to share on Facebook, they're going out, they're on a beach, they're sharing their bikinis, they're having pizzas, they're having wine. Nothing wrong with that. But that begins to reinforce our new identity. So if the more you share equally that you're still on the beach with your bikinis, but you're also training, you're also having a green goddess smoothie, you also just did a 7-kilometer walk, that begins to reinforce the new identity that you're creating and the way people perceive you. A lot of us, once we create a way we want to be perceived, we then fit into that perception. So the more Seema is doing her cycling and the more she's doing her walking, the more people are thinking and relating to Seema, oh, you're that fitness girl that goes up that mountain every weekend, right? And the way she begins to show up is she's now driven to go and do that every day. But that's not who Seema was, right? But now people see her that she's part of this fitness squad that exists in a town in Zambia, right? And we see that differently. We see a different Seema emerging than used to be there, right? So you really weave out the new you by sharing what you're up to. Like this is the guy who lost 53 pounds. And the reason I share his journey is this guy would share. He is a shareaholic. He would share. He shared so much. He put me under pressure because I share a lot. I share daily. And this guy really kept me on my toes trying to keep up. And he caused amazing results. And I was like, there's a massive correlation with the more openly and the more freely you share and the more free you are of other people's opinions and judgments or numb to them or not hindered by them. Neither should your happiness be pegged on their loving and liking your stuff as much as you don't want your sadness to be pegged on their opinion or comment below where they say, yeah, right, you know? So really learn to be free of the weight of opinion and judgment before we lose the physical weight. And then this is what I call the double-edged sword. All of us have this, achiever's mindset trap. Just because you're great in business, just because you might be great in your career, just because you might be great in parenting, that doesn't mean what that tends to do, your brain tends to do is when you start something that you're not good at, you're like, I can't do this. Overwhelming, too much data. I hate Google Sheets. I don't like tech. I don't understand this. I don't like proteins. All this stuff comes up for you because it's a new area you're stepping into. It's an area you're not familiar with. It's an area where you're looking to learn and grow. So if you're expecting to perform as an achiever in a new area that you've not taken on before, and you're expecting to perform like you always do in the other areas, you likely will be quite harsh and critical of yourself. You likely go into self-sabotage mode. You will likely take yourself out of the game. You might say, you know what, I'm like an all-in or all-out person. Ronnie, I've missed 3 webinars. I haven't done my assignment. I only watched the first 40 minutes of the webinar I missed while I was on the flight back from Santorini. And then I thought, why watch webinar 2 till I watch webinar 1? And I'll be like, no, every day is day 1. Just show up in today's webinar. Just do today's assignment and then play catch up later. But you don't have to do it sequentially. This program can also work watching the webinars independently. It does help to watch webinars 1, 2, 3 in order, right? But you don't have to. And it does help being live on webinars. I always recommend being live because then it feels like it's your program because you get to share, you get to stay on and ask questions. It's a lot more effective. And I think when it's live, it's easier to watch and stay attentive to something than it is watching a recorded version of something. Aristotle says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not a habit, is not an act, but a habit. And we are weaving together new habit. So the structure that we're providing, the psychological structure, this is the magic, this is the gold dust of FitBanker Challenge, is the way it works. The psychology of the human mind drives and is in performance by making a public declaration out there. Either something that they slipped up on and they're recommitting to, either they're up to transforming their health, either they're up to signing or climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and then they surround themselves with like-minded people that are up to what they're up to. The rest of your challenge, guys, are your community of supporters. They believe in you and they're also taking on this program just like you are. Sharing your actions and your commitment out there. Like I said, keep sharing this to keep driving you in that direction and reinforcing and recreating the new you. And the fourth one is dangle that carrot. Actually go to the act of signing up to something you can't do, whether it's a marathon, a triathlon, a dance competition, a boxing competition, Kilimanjaro. When you sign up to that, your mind and your body will be like, there is no way I'm showing up on that day and getting knocked out. There's no way I'm showing up on that mountain and not being able to go beyond a certain day of that mountain, right? You will just be driven to operate and perform at a certain level. Trust the psychological drive that one creates. But not many people do that right away. They want to like, let me suss it out and see. And their performance is like, suss it out and see. But when you're like, shit, that's happening, and that's 3 months away, I got to be in the shape and state of mind for that thing, I'm going to take it on, right? That's what happens. FitBanker Challenge, you guys know what you get. You're in the program. We're going to recreate this in webinar 1, and you guys are already in the program. So welcome and well done. And congrats on being somebody that has leapt in. Seema is somebody who's anchoring, which means she did a program. She had a small window in between. She's back here to continue her journey. And when you encore, we encourage people to encore. We encourage people to stay within a structure that works for you. This is not the type of course where you learn it and say, hey, I've learned all that. I want to go away and do it myself. It's not a curriculum like a school thing. It's not test. Like I say, the gold dust is in the implementation. The gold dust is in the weekly calls, in the weekly webinars, in reporting to a coach, in being answerable to somebody. That's the way we work in our businesses. That's the way we work in our jobs. That's the way we work in our families. When we are answerable to, I got to show up because I'm so-and-so's mom, or I got to show up because my boss wants these accounts done, or whatever it is you do, right? And that's the way your health works, by showing up. 50% is showing up. And so we make it really easy for people to encore. If you're one of the first ones to encore or extend your program, I think it's just the first 5 people, or first, we might extend it to 10 for the next program. The first 10 people who want to continue, they pay like only $199 for the whole 3-month program, because we want you to win. We want to make it work for you. So we do whatever it takes from our end, and we just count on you and your partnership to show up. So that said, I want to acknowledge you guys that you're not going to be the part of humanity that surprises Dalai Lama, because what surprises him are those people who sacrifice their health in order to make money, and then sacrifice money to recuperate their health. And then he or she is so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present, the result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die, and then dies having never really lived. That second part of the quotes about we live like we've got all that time in the world is really why we do the adventure side of our business. We're really committed to people getting that, like, this is it. It's not a mock life. This is your chance while you're in this age and this state of mind and this financial safety and security and whatever's going on for you that's working out for you. This is your moment to leverage us and a community like us and coaches like us to do those things that you've left for one day, someday, right? And our role is just, we're going to keep uprooting people out of their comfort zone. That's what coaches do, right? So thank you all for being part of this community. Any questions? Are we fired up and ready to go?
Yeah.
No, I have a question. Hold on.
Now you have a question, yeah.
Yes. I want to ask, okay, I know that we're not supposed to compare to each other, but I wanted to ask, when Preeti started, she was 70 kilos and she didn't look like 70 kilos. I was only 1 kilo more than her, but I looked like really big.
Yeah.
Then the other Seema on the June challenge has already lost, she's at 50 something. And why is she encoring? Like, am I missing something?
She's anchoring, and Preeti also taking on her challenge and going to the next level. So first of all, Preeti is about 5'9", 5'10", something like that. So I'm not sure what your height is. Is it?
Oh, then I'm short. I'm 5'2".
Yeah. So if you are shorter but the same weight, then the way it shows up in our physique is different, right? And so if she's taller, a good part of her weight is also bone density and muscle mass, right? And so she might have lost a good percentage of fat and brought that down. Similar to the other Seema. The other Seema, the first part was a lot of fat loss. And now she's realized, even though she's got a little bit of gut that she wants to work on toning, and she wants to work now on really building her muscle. So I always tell people, it's not easier for people who are anchoring. It's harder. It can be harder for people who are anchoring, because they often come back trying to do what they did the first time. They think, oh, I know this. I got it figured out. I know exactly what I'm going to do. They think they know every webinar. They think they know the actions to do. No. What they're bringing is they're bringing the same performance they did in the first challenge. You have to come with a whole clean slate. And I always say what got you from there to here is not what's going to get you from here to there, right? So for Seema, we talked about certain supplements she's going to introduce. And I would also recommend these to you. One of them is, I don't have it here. It's like a metabolic booster called Grenade. Then I made sure now she's stocked up on the protein right from the start. I think she didn't get them right from the start last time. Creatine monohydrate, right? These are things that are giving a bit more power and a bit more muscle volume, right? And for Hannah, for you as well, for boxing, creatine monohydrate and protein is a no-brainer. These are all natural stuff. These are things the body needs. These are essential nutrients, which means the body needs them and the body needs to get them from food, right? And if you understand that, the sooner you grasp that and that they come from natural sources, our body naturally creates creatine. We're just taking an additional amount to say that we can put more into storage into our muscle cells, right? So if you understand the role of them, then taking them really supports and enhances your participation and performance.
Okay.
Okay,
I just
one
have,
more.
oh, sorry. Go on.
I didn't get it right last time, whether potatoes was supposed to be part of our diet or not.
Irish potato, I would recommend you don't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
I recommend you don't have it. Infrequently, you can have sweet potato.
Okay.
Right? It's not a forbidden food. It's not a forbidden food.
Mhm.
We do say have it moderately. And you know, if it's there, if you're making it, if there's a little bit of potato pieces inside of a mixed veg curry, it's not the end of the world. But if you're eating jacket potatoes, if you're having potatoes on its own, it's not ideal.
No.
It is starchy. It is also high glycemic index carb. It also creates a blood sugar spike. We might put that not on the forbidden foods list, but on the kind of one of the moderate foods to be mindful of.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask, so when I come back from Santorini, sadly, I'm going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And I think someone was messaging in the group because I was asking, because you have to do the 7 days cardio.
Yeah.
So like I could do cardio exercises. So I have to do that 7 days. So would the 4 resistance days be in addition to the cardio?
No, the 4 are happening. 7 days means every day you're doing basic walking. And so if you don't have a treadmill at home,
I can't go out.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation right now as you. So
You're quarantined.
yeah, basically what happened is some of our friends brought this treadmill over here. They came and dropped it off for me. So
Nice.
which are really, really good and kind friends for them to do that. Otherwise, I was getting frustrated. I have a very small piece outside this door here. But the biggest thing I've done is I'm having one main meal a day, and the other one is like a very light version or snacking. I am intermittent fasting. That's what I'm particularly doing. That's working for me. So which means my first meal is happening after 1 p.m. or 2 p.m.
I was doing intermittent fasting already, kind of.
So we don't have intermittent fasting as a must for this program. We introduce it after week 4. It's optional, but if you've done it before, if you know how it works, it will support you in quarantine. And then we have the daily hits. I recommend you join all of them or you do your own, right? So any type of hit workout, which is high vigorous movement and only body weight is considered cardio. Anything which has got slow movement and you're engaging your muscles and you're holding and pausing or you're holding a weight is called resistance training. So on a day where you have to do 7 days of cardio and 4 days resistance training, what you can do as an example is you do 30 minutes of work with weights or body weight and slow movement. And then what you can do is you can add later on in that day a point of the day where you're just doing skipping or high knee raises or star jumps just to get that heart rate up and break sweat.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how you would combine the 2 on a particular day.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Ronnie, I had a question. Like, because of my osteoarthritis on my knees and, so I'm restricted to a lot of movements, so if I just do walking, is it okay? Or
Yeah, walking is fine. Are you able to walk an hour a day or an hour and a half?
Maybe half an hour to 40 minutes, because again, then my knee starts swelling,
Sure. So if you can do either that twice a day, that's ideal. If you can do 30 to 40 minutes, if you can swim, that will also be great. But the minimum you want to do is at least 40 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be all at once. And so we say cumulative. So you can do 20 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes after lunch, 15 minutes after supper, and you'd have reached your target.
But otherwise my lifestyle is very active because I have a preschools, you know, so 6:45 I leave for school, so it's very active. There's
Okay.
a lot of movement.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, that's great if you're moving. If you have a Fitbit or something that can track your number of steps, aim for
Yes,
10,000
I do.
steps. How many steps a day do you do?
Like 5,000,
Okay,
5,000 to 6,000.
you got to aim for 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is without going walking or anything, you know, it's just
Okay.
at school.
So once you add 30 to 40 minutes of walking, you will cross over 10,000 likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And if you can incorporate swimming, which is low impact work, you'll do that. And also, we're going to ask you in webinar 1 to share some limiting beliefs. And I want you to consider that one of the limiting beliefs you might have in your mind, you've not said this, but it might exist there, and it might have been adopted from a conversation with the doctor when they diagnosed you with osteoarthritis, is that you might have a view in your mind called, I have this thing and this thing is here to stay. I want you to consider that that thing that you have is also going to chip off, right?
Right.
Okay. When we alter your nutrition, when you reduce some of your fat percentage, when you reduce the strain on your joints, when you alkalize your body, when you remove the acidity from your body, right? How your body performs and functions shifts, right? I mean, we've had people who come back say, I didn't realize this, but my spectacle number has reduced. You know, we've had amazing things. We've had people who are like, oh, I didn't realize like irregular periods got resolved, or so many issues, right? And feel free to reach out to me. I've every female health hygiene issue anyone has called me and spoken to me about, I'm dealing with this, and I have to listen to it and then sometimes Google, what on earth is BV? Okay, got it. Yeah, let me tell you, what you need to do is this. So, okay, cool. Anything else?
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
I wanted to share that since I was a teenager, I had arthritis in my hip. And every cold season, every winter, I would literally limp and ask someone to drive me around. And this year, after doing FITBANKER, it's the first time I realized that I never limped, that arthritis is gone.
Amazing.
And it's very reversible.
Wow.
Without medication.
Yeah.
I need you to do that on a Facebook Live and tag me on Facebook, please. Say exactly that.
Wow.
Awesome. That's amazing. All right. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up now. Thank you all for being on. Sorry, say that again, Sheila.
Now I'm looking forward to transformation.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's do this. Transformation always begins in the mind, and the mind starts by letting go and giving up what you believe is true or fixed about you, about food, about exercise, about illness. Keep letting go of that stuff. Okay?
Great.
All right, guys, well done. I promise you guys have a head start by being on today's session, and it was really tailored to prep you up. So well done, and congrats, and thanks for showing up. Bye, guys.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.